vulnerabilities are not misused, where they are not judged, criticized, invalidated, minimized, emotionally antagonized. That's all what scapegoats want. They, want someone with whom they can be themselves. They want someone who sees them and hears them out. That's all. That's, what scapegoats want. Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So, a couple of days back, someone asked me, um, is it possible that a scapegoat, can grow up to be a narcissist himself or herself? Yeah, so today I'm going to try and answer that. And before I get going, I would request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. So, I mean, I was there. I was a scapegoat. Initially I was the golden child, but the moment my parents saw that, I was not ready to comply to anything and everything that they wanted out of me. That's the time, when I could see and feel the change in their behavior. Yeah, they started, harshly criticizing me, or you can say, the discard process was initiated. The discard is not, always physical. They don't, physically discard you, because they are image conscious individuals, and they really don't want to ruin, their image, the false facade that they have built. I mean, great parent, someone who has done a lot for their kid, blah blah blah. So they really don't want to tarnish that image. Yeah, so narcissistic parents don't physically discard you, but yes, there are signs to look out for. I mean, when you are in that discard zone, yeah, because they are not unable to, harvest the supply out of you. And as a result of which, they are frustrated, irritated, disappointed with you, yeah. And, they are going to act in a certain way. They are going to give out, the signs. Now, you have to observe the signs, you have to process it and do the needful if you want to be in the family, if you want their love, affection, validation. And if you don't want all of that, you can move on, move out, and go no contact. Yeah, so narcissistic parents don't literally tell you on face that I'm done with you, just get lost. They are going to treat you in a certain way, and this is basically to send across a reminder that you need to do more. I'm not liking the kind of supply that you are giving me. I need more. I need better quality of supply. Yeah, the things that I expect out of you. So narcissistic parents are going to give out the signs. You have to process it and do the needful. Now, coming to the possibility of scapegoat becoming a narcissist, I would, say that it's not always that scapegoats become narcissists themselves. I was also a scapegoat in my family. I have seen my cousins also being scapegoated. I have seen friends who are scapegoats in the family. I have worked with clients who are scapegoat in their family and relationship. So it's not necessary that every scapegoat becomes a narcissist, but there is possibility. Scapegoats can become narcissists themselves, in certain condition. Yeah, uh, in certain situations they may grow up to be a narcissist themselves. Yeah, generally scapegoats don't become narcissists themselves, but yes, in some of the cases they do. Yeah, so the possibility is there, but we shouldn't generalize this, that every scapegoat grows up and becomes a narcissist. No, that's not the case. Yeah, all what scapegoat needs is a safe space to be themselves, a safe relationship where they can open up, where their vulnerabilities are not misused, where they are not judged, criticized, invalidated, minimized, emotionally antagonized. That's all what scapegoats want. They want someone with whom they can be themselves. They want someone who sees them and hears them out. That's all. That's what scapegoats want. At least, I mean, me being a scapegoat in my family, these are the things I wanted. Yeah, Nothing complicated. I just wanted shelter over my head. I just wanted, maybe a meal a day. I was happy with that. Yeah, I was ready to settle for less. Yeah, but all what I wanted was peace, a predictable environment, and someone, who respects me, someone who loves me, and someone, who's not there to do numbers on me. Yeah, I wanted such kind of a person. So yes, scapegoats do become, narcissistic individual under certain circumstances and condition. One such factor is, internalization of narcissistic behavior. So scapegoats don't have healthy role models, and as a result of which, when they are, exposed to narcissistic behavior and traits of their parent, they, sometimes, believe that this is the right way. They internalize their narcissistic parents' behavior and trait, and they think this is the right way. I need to, replicate my mom, I need to replicate my dad. Yeah, and this is because, they don't have any healthy role models. Yeah, they are stuck with their narcissistic family. Maybe, they get married to a narcissistic individual, or maybe, they are married to, someone who's from a toxic family, or someone who's from a dysfunctional family. So, all that, cycle of abuse and dysfunctionality, never really stops. Yeah, it goes on. So as a result of which, these scapegoats, I mean, the kind of role models that they are exposed to in their childhood, I mean, our primary caregivers like our father and mother, when father and mother are narcissistic, these kids, I mean, they learn what my father is doing and, what my mother is doing. I need to learn all these manipulation skills. I need to learn how to do a number. I need to learn how to gang up against someone who's not agreeing to me. So, when there is lack of healthy role models, yeah, you are from a toxic dysfunctional family, again you are, in relationship with someone who's from toxic and dysfunctional family, so you really don't, get the right kind of exposure where you, come across healthy adults and individuals, yeah, who you can, look up to as role models. You are surrounded by toxic dysfunctional individuals, and, you are simply having, toxic dysfunctional and narcissistic role models around you, and as a result of which you internalize all of that, that this is the right way. If my mother is doing, this is right. If my father is doing, this is right. This is how I need to, treat my partner. This is how I need to treat my kids when I grow up. Yeah, so, this internalization of narcissistic behavior is, one of the reasons why in some of the cases scapegoats, grow up to be narcissistic individuals. The other reason why scapegoats may become narcissists themselves is, seeking validation and approval. As children, we want our caregivers, validation, approval, love, and affection. Yeah, it's the basic requirement. We all, need it, and we feel good when we get it. But when we are raised by narcissistic individuals, these things don't exist in, narcissistic families. Yeah, uh, validation, approval, appreciation, all of it is very conditional in narcissistic families. Yeah, when you are raised by narcissistic parents, you are trained that, if you are worthy, if you are of some use, or if you comply, and if you are the version the narcissistic parents want you to be, then you will get their love, affection, validation, approval, appreciation, all of that. But if you fail to give them what they want out of you, all of it is going to vanish in thin air. So as a result of which, scapegoat, children, they often, suffer from extremely low self-esteem, and this is because of, relentless, blame, um, criticism, shaming. Yeah, and as a result of which, these kids are hungry, or you can say these kids, might seek excessive validation and approval. Yeah, because all of it was not, given to them when they were a child. They were constantly scapegoated, blamed, criticized in front of the others, and as a result of which, there is a void inside of them. Yeah, and they want to fill that void. And when they grow up, they have this extreme hunger and craving for attention, admiration, validation, appreciation, approval from the others. Yeah. And if you see, I mean, excess, you can say excessive, hunger and craving for, attention, validation, approval is, hallmark of narcissism. So, these scapegoats, unknowingly, you know, uh, become narcissists. And all of it is connected to their childhood, the way how they were raised. They were not raised in a healthy environment where everything was given to them, yeah, in a healthy manner, in a healthy way. Love and affection was withheld. Approval, validation, all of these things were very conditional. And as a result of which the child uh, developed a kind of a void on the inside, yeah, which they want to fill, they want to compensate, yeah. And as a result of which they start craving excessive admiration, attention from everybody else, yeah. And this excessive validation, approval, is basically to compensate for that underdeveloped, or you can say damaged self-worth. Yeah, because in narcissistic families, narcissistic homes, you are not allowed to develop your self-esteem, self-worth. And this is because if you develop in a healthy way, like a healthy grown up or an adult, then you might not be serving, you might not be in the people pleasing business, you might not be a dedicated, loyal, devoted servant to your narcissistic parent. You might ask questions, you might refuse, you might deny, you might not play along, yeah, if you grow up to be a healthy individual. So, narcissistic parents stunt their kids' growth, and this is basically to, forbid their kids from developing a sense of self, self-worth, self-esteem, and as a result of which the kid is, forever dependent on the narcissistic parent. And we know what kind of things these kids get in return, yeah, for their service. Breadcrumbs, that's it. And these kids, keep misunderstanding those crumbs for love. So yes, seeking validation and approval is also one of the reasons why in some of the cases scapegoats do grow up to be narcissistic individuals themselves. The other reason why scapegoats might grow up to be narcissistic individual is because of this learned survival mechanism. So when you are raised in toxic narcissistic families, these scapegoats might learn to use manipulation, control, or other narcissistic behavior and tendencies uh, as survival strategies, yeah, as survival mechanism to survive the family, to survive the relationship. And these tactics which they learn in their childhood can sometimes carry over into their adulthood as ingrained habits, yeah, because that's what they are seeing, that's the kind of things they are learning from their role models, narcissistic parent. And as a result of which they start using all of the things since childhood, and when they grow up to be adult, all of it is carried forwarded, yeah. And as a result of which they grow up to be individual with all of the similar narcissistic traits and tendencies, yeah. So this learned survival mechanism that these kids learn in the childhood is also one of the reasons why some of the scapegoats end up becoming narcissistic individuals. I repeat once again, majority of the scapegoats don't grow up to be narcissistic individuals. It's those scapegoats who are not exposed to anything healthy and regulated, yeah. Those scapegoats under certain circumstances, situation, and under certain condition may grow up to be narcissistic individuals. But majority of the scapegoats, they just run away, they want me time, they want peaceful environment, they want good companionship, Scapegoats, want a healthy environment. Yeah, that's what they crave. Yeah, so it's not that, every scapegoat becomes a narcissistic individual, but yes, there is a possibility some of the scapegoats do grow up to be narcissistic individuals, because there is no full stop. Yeah, from childhood they are seeing all those narcissistic behavior and traits. They are learning, they are adapting, and as a result of all that, they are in a way becoming narcissistic individuals in their adulthood. Yeah, the other reason why some of the scapegoats may become narcissistic individuals in their adulthood is unresolved trauma and anger. So you need to understand, when you are exposed to chronic mistreatment, chronic mistreatment can lead to deep seated anger and resentment, and without proper coping mechanism, or therapy, or discussing things out with a psychologist or therapist, the scapegoat child might project all of his or her unresolved trauma simply onto the others. Yeah, because they are unable to process it, they are unable to talk things out. There is no therapy at hand. They cannot speak their heart out to the people around them. Reasons could be endless, and as a result of which these scapegoat children might project all of that unresolved trauma and anger onto the others, and that might and all of that might make them appear as if they lack empathy. Yeah, they are someone who have extreme sense of entitlement, and they lack empathy, and as a result of which you know uh, people might perceive them as narcissistic individuals. Yeah, so scapegoats might not have you can say something bad in their heart for the others, but when all of that trauma and anger is unresolved, not processed, you are not healed, somewhere or the other unknowingly vent it out on to the others. Yeah, and others might process you as heartless individual. Yeah, at times I used to lash out. At times I used to shout at people without thinking as to how my action might affect the other individual. Yeah, others used to perceive me as someone who lacked empathy, who was very entitled. Yeah, I mean, there has been instances where I was seen as the wrong one. Yeah, but I did not have wrong intention deep inside my heart. I did not have anything wrong. Yeah, but the way how I behaved and lashed out, and the way how I reacted, I was seen as narcissistic individual. People did call me narcissistic individual, because all that anger, that suppressed anger, emotion, all that unresolved trauma, there was a stage in my life where I was just like a ticking bomb. Yeah, if anyone is triggering me, or if anyone is insinuating me or poking me, they are going to get it bad. Yeah, so with time I did work on all of those things. With time, with therapy, with my inner healing, I mean, things did change. I reparented myself. But initially, when I was out of that toxic system, but initially when I went no contact, when I left my narcissistic family, I was a royal mess. I was you know someone who was very difficult for people to process and understand. And they used to find me absolutely arrogant, someone who's very entitled, someone who lacks empathy. Though I used to feel bad after reacting or lashing out, but by that time the damage was done. Yeah, it was too late. Yeah, so I have experienced this. And I mean, later on, yes, I did reach out to those individuals and I apologize. But my unresolved trauma, anger, all of those suppressed emotion, it used to come out in a lot of weird ways. And people used to find me very unhealthy to be with. Yeah. So yes, unresolved trauma and anger uh, can be one of the reasons why scapegoats might be seen as someone who lacks empathy and someone who is very entitled. Some of them might genuinely feel entitled, someone might genuinely lack empathy, but it's not the case with all the scapegoats. Yeah. So I used to treat others in a bad way when they used to poke or trigger me. Yeah. And then they used to see me as someone who has zero empathy, someone who's extremely entitled. But deep inside, I mean, my conscience used to tell me that this is not right, you should go and apologize. Yes, I did apologize to all of those individuals after some time, not then and there, but yes, I did it. I valued the relationship, and I thought of mending the relationship. So I reached out to them, I apologized for my erratic behavior, or I mean the kind of misunderstanding they had because of my reaction and behavior. So I reached out to them. But yes, others might just become like that. Yeah. But other scapegoats might genuinely lack empathy and might have extreme sense of entitlement, and this is because of constant suppression since childhood. Yeah, you're not good enough, you're useless, you cannot do things right, minimization, invalidation, gaslighting, triangulation, I mean all sorts of bad things that is thrown at individuals. They in a way learn all of those things, that this is the way. Yeah, there is no other way. Yeah, because their role models are all toxic, dysfunctional, narcissistic. Yeah. And as a result of which, we often learn all of that and we start treating others that way. Yeah, we are not taught how to treat others. We are not taught how to engage and behave in front of the others. When we are raised by narcissistic parents, we are just trained and conditioned to be a certain way. Yeah, a version that solely serves them, a version that's very close to being a people pleaser. Narcissistic parents don't teach you how to have conversation with others, don't teach you how to have a healthy relationship and connection. They simply teach you to be a people pleaser, they simply teach you to be a better servant. Yeah, suffer in silence, bear with all the bullshit that is thrown at you, and that's it. And the last reason why some of the scapegoats may grow up to be narcissistic individuals in their adulthood is because of mirroring the narcissistic parents. So in some of the cases, the scapegoats may strive to gain their narcissistic parents approval. And how do they get that approval? They get that approval by mirroring their narcissistic parents' behavior. So if my mother is treating my sibling horribly, let me also treat my sibling horribly. Yeah, because that's what we are learning from a role model. If my mother is abusing my father, so let me mirror that in hopes of getting approval and validation. And as a result of which we start adopting all of those narcissistic traits. Yeah, we think and believe that this is the right way, this is how mom is doing, this is how dad is doing, so I think this is the right way, let me just copy him, let me do the same things that he is doing or she is doing, and then I will be validated, and then I will be seen and heard, and things will be okay. So yes, when we are constantly scapegoated in the childhood, there comes a time when we start mirroring our narcissistic parents behavior, and this is purely to get the narcissistic parents validation and approval. Yeah, we you know get into the mirroring business in hopes you know uh, that we will get some validation and approval. We might not be scapegoated, but we are wrong. We learn all the wrong stuff, and that's it. We, ruin our life, we ruin others' life, and all that abuse never really, comes to a full stop. knowingly, unknowingly, we start abusing the others. So yes, when we are scapegoated by our narcissistic parents, we do a lot of things to survive. Yeah, we do a lot of things to get their love, affection, validation. Yeah, so that everything is fine. We really don't like being ignored. We really don't like being, treated like shit. We want the love and affection and validation of our primary caregivers, in this case our parents. But when we have narcissistic parents, things are different. So yes, these were a couple of reasons why scapegoats might grow up to be narcissistic individuals. And again, I repeat, every scapegoat is not a narcissist. Not every scapegoat, grows up to be a narcissistic individual. But those scapegoats who were in toxic family, toxic relationship, and who have got into toxic family and toxic relationship again, those scapegoats who are not exposed to the healthy stuff, those scapegoats might, I mean, the chances are less, but those scapegoats might, grow up to be, narcissistic individuals. Not all. I would say maybe 5-6% of, the scapegoats might, grow up to be narcissistic individuals. But 95% of the scapegoats just want peaceful environment, someone who loves them, predictable environment, someone who, sees them and hears them, and that's it. As scapegoats, we are ready to settle for less as long as, things are peaceful, as long as there is love. We are ready to settle for less. Yeah, so I mean, this is from my own experience. I would love to, hear your experiences. In case if you would like to add in something, you can always comment below. Till then, take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.